Welcome to our channel, Legends of Black Excellence. Today, we delve deep into a story that's both powerful and painful, the untold journeys of 20 black celebrities currently rotting in jail. These icons, once shining stars of their respective industries, now face the harsh realities of life behind bars. What led them to this dark path? What secrets do their stories reveal about fame, struggles, and the cost of their actions? Stay tuned as we uncover the hidden truths behind their fall from grace and the struggles they continue to face. Keith D. Keith D is a name that rings familiar, especially when it comes to one of the most haunting mysteries in hip-hop history, the murder of Tupac Shakur. For years, Keith D has been a shadowy figure in the investigation, with his name whispered in connection to the tragic death of the late rapper. As a member of the Southside Crips, Keith D's association with street violence has been well documented, and his link to the bitter rivalry between East Coast and West Coast rappers only deepens the intrigue surrounding him. For decades, Keith D maintained a level of silence that kept his role in Tupac's death shrouded in mystery. However, recent charges against him have finally begun to shed light on the case that has haunted the hip-hop world for so long. In 2023, after years of speculation and investigation, Keith D was charged in connection with Tupac's death in 1996. The details of the case are still complex, but Keith D's involvement has long been a topic of fascination. It's not just about street violence or gang affiliations, but also about the volatile relationship between East Coast and West Coast rappers, a feud that escalated into deadly violence. As the world waits for justice for Tupac, Keith D is no longer merely part of the hip-hop legend. He has become central to the unresolved murder mystery, one that continues to captivate the music industry. Now, Keith D faces the consequences of his past actions. His involvement in one of the most publicized murders in music history is something he cannot escape. His legal troubles are not limited to Tupac's death, but also to the layers of violence and criminal activities he was part of during a time of deep division within the rap world. As he stands trial, the world watches, questioning if this will be the final chapter of a story that has haunted hip-hop for over 2 decades. Casanova. Casanova is a name that has always been larger than life, known for his raw energy and impactful lyrics. He captured the attention of fans with his magnetic stage presence, but behind the microphone, the world he rapped about seemed to mirror his own reality a little too closely. What many didn't realize was that Casanova's life was a fine line between success and the chaos he often portrayed in his music. He found himself facing serious criminal charges, including extortion and drug trafficking, charges that were nothing short of cinematic in their intensity. The authorities linked Casanova to a notorious street gang, further blurring the lines between his rap persona and his real-life involvement in crime. The allegations against him weren't light, they revealed a dangerous world far beyond his music. Federal investigators unearthed connections that placed Casanova not just as a rapper, but as a part of the very criminal underworld he rapped about. Whether it was his street reputation or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time, his world flipped upside down. No longer on stage, Casanova found himself in the cold, confined space of a prison cell. This was a harsh fall from the heights of his fame, and as his story unfolded, fans couldn't help but wonder how different things could have been. Now, Casanova's stage is defined by concrete walls and iron bars, a far cry from the flashing lights and screaming fans he once knew. His lyrical journey has taken a darker turn, reflecting the world of confinement he never expected. The stage he once owned is now restricted to the confines of his cell, and his powerful words now echo in the quiet of prison rather than the roar of the crowd. 42 Dugg. Some people seem to be drawn to chaos, and 42 Dugg is one of those individuals. Known for his relentless persona and infectious beats, he wasn't one to back down, at least, not until the law finally caught up with him. Facing federal gun charges, he dug himself into a deeper hole by ignoring a court-ordered sentence. The entire situation seemed like a perfect storm, abruptly halting the career of the talented rapper from Detroit. In the world of hip-hop, 42 Dugg's rhythms and hooks are unforgettable, but it looks like his latest run-in with the law may prove to be just as memorable. His failure to appear in court thrust him back into the spotlight, but this time it was under a harsh light no artist would want to stand in. With his time now measured in days spent behind bars instead of hours in the studio, his career may have to wait for a second chance. While fans hold out hope for his release, 42 Doug faces a daily reminder that freedom is never guaranteed in a world where a single wrong move can cost you everything. He is learning this lesson in real time. Will he return stronger, or will this be the story that sidelines him forever? For now, his fate hangs in the balance, as his actions continue to define his path forward. What seemed like an unstoppable force in rap has now been stopped by his own choices. The future of 42 Doug rests on how he handles the setback and whether he can reclaim his place in the game or become yet another cautionary tale. Bankroll Freddie. Bankroll Freddie, a rapper from Arkansas, once had a future full of promise. His rhymes began to capture the public's attention, and his unique style was gaining momentum with fans across the country. But then life threw him a curveball, or perhaps he threw it himself. Arrested on multiple charges, ranging from possession of a large quantity of drugs to illegal firearm ownership, Freddie's reality began to align too closely with the street life he often rapped about. The charges served as a stark reminder that blending these two worlds can come with a heavy price. Freddie's situation isn't a simple case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Law enforcement hit him with enough charges to send shivers down anyone's spine. The evidence against him paints a picture of a life dangerously close to the edge. It raises the question of whether his life outside the studio influenced his art too much, or if he simply took things too far. Now, Bankroll Freddie's rise seems to be put on pause, with his music sidelined and his future hanging in the balance. He may have built his reputation on raw talent and fearlessness, but getting out of this situation will require more than just skills. The music world is watching, wondering if his sound will change, or if this will be the last we hear from him for a long time. Only time will tell if he can turn things around or if his journey will become yet another cautionary tale in the rap world. Young Thug. When Young Thug entered the music scene, he brought with him a unique voice and style that defied all expectations in hip-hop. His eclectic fashion and mind-blowing lyrics captivated fans, earning him a place as one of the most innovative artists in the genre. However, behind the flashy persona and captivating rhymes, there was a darker side that would eventually lead him into serious legal trouble. Authorities claim that Young Thug was deeply involved in a dangerous gang activity, a stark contrast to the creative genius his fans admired. This story, which feels like it could be a metaphor he once rapped about, is tragically real. Legal issues became a focal point of his life, with prosecutors listing a long series of charges that stunned his supporters. For someone known for his wordplay and bold imagery, these accusations hit hard, suggesting that the lines between his artistic persona and real-life actions had blurred beyond recognition. The man who once graced stages with wild energy and creativity now finds himself caught in the harsh reality of courtrooms and criminal charges that seem far removed from the lyrical dreamscape he once inhabited. Young Thug's future hangs in the balance, and it's uncertain whether he will be able to escape the storm that is engulfing him without lasting damage. No matter what happens next, it will undoubtedly mark a new chapter in his story, but it may not be a chapter he would have chosen to write. The world waits to see whether this pioneer of hip-hop can rewrite his future, or if the stage will remain empty for a while longer. Xu. In Jacksonville, Xu built his reputation as a rapper with a raw intensity few could match. His music was an unfiltered expression of his world, unafraid to showcase the grit and reality of street life. But his growing legal troubles revealed that his lyrics may have been more of a reflection of his actual life than fans had anticipated. With a long list of charges, Xu now finds himself fighting not only the courtroom but also trying to maintain a career that was just beginning to take off. His journey took a dark turn when authorities linked him to activities far beyond the themes in his songs. He was accused of involvement in serious incidents, with the very streets he rapped about now casting a shadow over his freedom. As he waits for his day in court, fans are left in suspense, wondering if they'll ever hear him on the mic again. At this moment, Xu's rise seems to have stalled, as his story has shifted from the recording studio to the cold walls of a prison cell. What once seemed like the beginning of a promising career is now overshadowed by legal battles that threaten to derail everything he worked for. Will Xu manage to make a comeback, or will he forever be remembered for what could have been? That remains an unanswered question, one that only time will reveal. YFN Lucci. In the world of hip-hop, YFN Lucci was on a steady rise. Hailing from Atlanta, this rapper made waves with his catchy hooks and fearless storytelling style. His music resonated with a generation, giving a voice to the struggles of growing up on the streets. However, as his success grew, the shadow of his past caught up with him, and the legal system began to take notice. Despite his fame, Lucci's ties to gang activities soon became more than just a background story for his lyrics, it became his reality. His legal troubles started mounting when he was linked to a series of violent incidents, eventually leading to serious charges, including racketeering. These allegations were no longer whispers. They were backed by substantial evidence that painted a picture of a man whose life was intertwined with dangerous individuals and high-risk actions. This was a far cry from the glamorous lifestyle he portrayed in his music videos. The rapper, who once had the world at his feet, now finds himself facing the harsh reality of spending a long time behind bars. While his fans used to sing along to his songs about overcoming adversity, the man behind the microphone now struggles to survive the legal and personal consequences of his own decisions. As he waits for his day in court, the question remains, can his talent rise above the dark world he's become entangled in, or has his fate been sealed by the choices of his past? KK. If there's one rapper whose story serves as a stark reminder of how quickly life can change, it's TK. This young artist from Texas had the world at his feet with his breakout hit, The Race. He became an internet sensation, a teen with raw energy and talent that captivated listeners everywhere. But TK's rise wasn't the typical path, and his past soon caught up with him in the most tragic way. In 2017, TK became involved in an incident that would forever alter the course of his life. A crime that led to the death of an individual, and his involvement left him with no easy way out. As the legal process unfolded, his role in the crime became undeniable. Despite achieving fame, the rapper was sentenced to 55 years in prison due to his involvement in the murder. While some fans viewed his actions as a result of a troubled upbringing, the tragic consequences overshadowed his career. Now, TK sits behind bars, facing the repercussions of decisions made in a moment of desperation. His story is a heartbreaking one, a young life full of potential, but marked by a series of mistakes that led him down a dark path. TK's life is a cautionary tale, reminding us of how quickly things can spiral out of control, especially when fame, choices, and a dangerous environment collide. For TK, the sentence he faces is a heavy price to pay, and the world will never know what might have happened if he had taken a different path. A$AP Bari. A$AP Bari's rise in both fashion and music seemed unstoppable. As a key member of A$AP Mob, he played a significant role in shaping the group's influence in rap and streetwear. His personal brand, A$AP Bari, became synonymous with street fashion culture. But behind the trendy designs and successful collaborations, Bari's reputation took a major hit when legal troubles pulled him into a darker spotlight. His arrogance, which helped him build his empire, seemed to be the very thing that led him into a series of costly mistakes. Bari's legal woes began with an assault charge, bringing unwanted attention to his personal life. This accusation wasn't just a minor blemish, it marked a permanent stain on his career. The details surrounding the incident were enough to make fans question his public image, and it soon became evident that the glamorous lifestyle he portrayed wasn't as flawless as it seemed. Instead of focusing on the next big fashion launch, Bari was forced to face the consequences of his actions in court. As A$AP Bari sits behind bars, the irony of his situation is hard to ignore. A man who once lived life in the fast lane is now confronting the harsh reality of time spent behind bars. While he once led the cultural influence in fashion, his time in jail demonstrates how quickly things can change, even for those who seem untouchable. The world of fashion he once ruled now feels like a distant memory as he faces the fallout from his own decisions. Lil G. Lil G, once a promising member of the rap group SOB/RBE, carved out a niche with his raw, gritty storytelling and unflinching honesty. His verses captured the harsh realities of street life, and his sound quickly gained traction in the West Coast rap scene. But as fast as his rise, Lil G's future took a dark turn. In 2019, his name became linked to a deadly shooting that would change everything. The incident, which resulted in a fatality, led to Lil G's arrest and eventual imprisonment. The details surrounding the shooting were chilling, and the consequences were grave. What seemed like a flourishing career in music suddenly came to a screeching halt as Lil G faced charges that would cut short his promising future. As law enforcement dug deeper into the case, it became clear that his involvement in the crime was far more than a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lol G found himself entangled in the very kind of story he rapped about, one filled with violence and despair, leaving him with few options for escape. Now, Lol G is serving time, his career stalled, and his future uncertain. The rapper who once packed concert halls with his energy now counts his time in prison in terms of a sentence rather than stage hours. As the years pass, it remains unclear if Lol G will ever find his way back to music, or if his legacy will be defined by the tragic events that led to his arrest. His story serves as a stark reminder of how quickly the streets can reclaim someone, even those with talent and ambition. A-Arab, a rapper from Philadelphia, once stood out as a dominant figure in the city's hip-hop scene. Known for his aggressive, no-nonsense style, he quickly garnered a loyal fan base with his street-smart lyrics, painting vivid pictures of life in the rough neighborhoods he came from. But as his fame grew, so did his involvement in criminal activities. A-Arab's name became increasingly tied to a network of illegal operations, and it wasn't long before law enforcement uncovered his role in a large-scale drug trafficking enterprise. His arrest was a turning point, marking the end of a promising career. Soon after, A-Arab found himself facing a 45-year sentence for drug trafficking and related charges. The rapper who once had the world at his feet now found himself behind bars, serving time for the very life he rapped about. The weight of the charges was not just heavy, it was life-altering. The career he once dreamed of now felt like a distant memory. Now, as A-Arab serves his sentence, he is left to reflect on the decisions that led him to this point. His story is a tragic one, a man with immense talent, now locked away with little hope of returning to the career he once aspired to. As the years pass, it becomes increasingly clear that the price he paid for his involvement in crime may cost him not just his career, but his entire life. KYYNGG, Kaylan, K.R. Walker. Kaylan Walker, known in the entertainment world as KR, seemed poised to make a lasting impact both in acting and music. Born and raised in Los Angeles, his undeniable talent was evident from the start. His early appearances in films and TV shows, even landing lead roles, marked him as a rising star. His music career, though less well-known, was promising, attracting a growing fan base who admired his raw, energetic style. Clearly, Walker had the appeal and drive to succeed. However, life threw him an unexpected blow. Walker's troubles began when he was accused of multiple counts of sexual assault. These were not easily dismissed allegations, they were serious, and the courts found enough evidence to convict him. The events cast a long shadow over what could have been a successful career, turning his once promising life into a dark tale of legal battles and courtroom struggles. The actor and rapper who seemed destined for fame now faces a long prison sentence for crimes that devastated his victims and shattered his career. It's hard to imagine the rise and fall of Kaylan Walker without feeling a sense of tragedy. He appeared to have it all, the talent, the looks, and the opportunity to carve out a space for himself in Hollywood. But behind closed doors, his actions were far from the image he portrayed. Now, his story is one of lost potential and a reminder of how quickly a promising career can crumble under the weight of criminal actions. 9 Locks. NLE Choppa gained fame with his sharp street style and raw lyrics that often depicted the hardships and struggles of life in Florida. His music had a unique edge, quickly capturing the attention of fans who appreciated his authentic sound. But beneath the tough exterior and street credibility he built, there was a much darker side to NLE Choppa's life. He had always been open about growing up in a dangerous environment, but as his career started to take off, it seemed that the violence he rapped about would soon be left in the past. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. NLE Choppa's legal issues began to escalate when he found himself caught up in a series of serious allegations. He was accused of involvement in several incidents, including a near-fatal shooting. His connections with gangs and dangerous individuals only made the accusations more severe. What seemed like the rise of a hopeful talent quickly became overshadowed by criminal activity, eventually leading to him being incarcerated. Despite his potential, it became clear that NLE Choppa could never fully escape the lifestyle his lyrics so vividly described. Now, as he sits behind bars, it's hard not to wonder what could have been. His unique sound and storytelling ability had the potential to elevate him to stardom, but instead, he's serving time for actions that forever altered his future. His fans can only look back at what could have been and question how such a talented individual became just another statistic in the harsh reality of street life. Fetty Wap. Fetty Wap, the rapper who became a household name with hits like Trap Queen and 679, once had the world at his feet. His catchy hooks and unique style made him one of the most successful artists of his generation. However, behind the fame, Fetty Wap's life was filled with struggles far beyond the music industry. His legal troubles began to surface when he became involved in a large-scale drug trafficking operation. Authorities uncovered a vast network of drug distribution spanning several states, with Fetty Wap at its center. The charges against him were severe, running a drug ring that wreaked havoc in communities across the nation. As Fetty Wap's trial unfolded, it became clear that he was no longer just a musician. He had become a central figure in an illegal operation that devastated countless lives. Despite his fame and wealth, the pull of street life drew him back, and the consequences were severe. Fetty Wap's conviction and subsequent 6-year prison sentence for drug trafficking marked a dramatic fall from grace for an artist who once dominated the charts. Now, as he sits in his cell, Fetty Wap's story is one of lost potential. His music brought joy to millions, but his involvement in criminal activity has overshadowed the legacy he could have left behind. Once a rapper who seemed untouchable, he now faces the harsh reality of time behind bars. The tale of Fetty Wap is a tragic reminder of how easily fame and success can be undone by the lure of a dangerous lifestyle, leaving behind a shadow of what could have been. Rondo Number 9. Rondo Number, a rapper from Chicago, emerged as a key figure in the city's drill scene, known for his aggressive lyrics and raw delivery. The drill music scene, renowned for its unfiltered depiction of life in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods, found a voice in Rondo Number. His music reflected his environment, tough, unpolished, and brutally honest. But despite his success, Rondo's life was continuously overshadowed by the violence and crime that haunted his surroundings. His lyrics, filled with references to the struggles of the streets, soon spilled into his personal life. In 2014, Rondo Number was convicted for his involvement in a fatal shooting in Chicago. The incident, which led to the death of one man, saw Rondo sentenced to nearly 40 years in prison. Despite his talent and potential, the rapper couldn't escape the environment that shaped his music. His role in the shooting, a part of the ongoing violence plaguing Chicago, resulted in a sentence that will keep him behind bars for much of his life. What was once a promising music career is now a distant memory for Rondo, who faces the harsh reality of his actions. The story of Rondo Number is a tragic one, filled with regret over the lost potential. His music spoke of the harsh realities of life, but it also served as a warning that the streets can take away more than just your time, they can take your future. Now, as Rondo serves his nearly 40-year sentence, his story stands as a sobering reminder of what can happen when life and art collide in the most destructive ways. Tsu Surf. Tsu Surf had built a reputation as a formidable force in the world of hip-hop. His rise began in the battle rap scene, where he quickly gained respect for his sharp wordplay and captivating stage presence. His street-smart style connected with fans, particularly those who appreciated his raw, unfiltered talent. Surf's name became synonymous with battle rap, and fans admired him not just for his music but for his undeniable authenticity. However, like many artists from challenging backgrounds, success came with its own set of challenges. Despite his career taking off, Surf was no stranger to trouble, and his personal life often made headlines for the wrong reasons. Unfortunately, Tsu Surf's path took a dark turn when he found himself embroiled in legal issues that would ultimately overshadow his career. Facing multiple charges related to his involvement in criminal activities, his legal troubles escalated to alarming levels. He is currently facing several charges under the RICO Act, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, which could result in a lengthy prison sentence. The rapper, once captivating audiences with his words, now fights for his freedom, detained without bail as his case continues to unfold. It's a tragic contrast from the confident figure who once stood before thousands of fans, delivering passionate rap verses with belief and purpose. Beyond the legal issues, Tsu Surf's case serves as a stark example of the harsh reality for many young men caught between street life and the entertainment industry. Despite his immense talent, Surf struggled to break free from the cycle of violence and criminal ties that often come with fame in certain circles. Currently, Surf's future is uncertain, and his fans can only hope that one day, he will find a way out of the destructive spiral that has ensnared him. Sundiata Acoli. The life story of Sundiata Acoli is deeply intertwined with the history of the Black Panther Party and the struggles of African Americans during the 1960s and 1970s. Acoli, a former member of the Black Panther Party, was deeply involved in the radical movement that sought to challenge systemic racism and fight for justice during the height of the civil rights movement. Like many others of his time, Acoli was determined to bring about change in a society that seemed built against him and his community. However, his commitment to activism ultimately led to a tragic chapter in his life, one that would see him imprisoned for decades. In 1973, Acoli became involved in a confrontation with law enforcement that resulted in the death of a New Jersey state trooper and the serious injury of another. The incident, which became highly controversial, led to Acoli's arrest and conviction. Despite maintaining his innocence, Acoli was sentenced to life in prison for his role in the shooting. Over the years, there has been much debate over the fairness of his trial, with many activists and supporters arguing that his conviction was politically motivated due to his affiliation with the Black Panther Party. Supporters claim that the justice system unfairly targeted Acoli, and he has now spent nearly 5 decades behind bars for a crime some believe he did not commit. Acoli remains incarcerated, having spent much of his life in prison, despite his advancing age and declining health. His case stands as a symbol of the long-lasting consequences of political activism. For those who remember the radical movements of the 1960s and 1970s, Acoli's name evokes both admiration and sorrow. His story is not just one of crime but a reminder of the cost of standing up for ideals, even when it comes at the expense of personal sacrifice. Akili McDowell. Akil McDowell was making waves with his role in the critically acclaimed series David Makes Man, known for his sensitive yet powerful portrayal of a young man navigating the harsh realities of life. McDowell's performance was celebrated for its depth and authenticity. His career was just beginning to soar when his personal life took a dramatic turn. In 2024, McDowell found himself thrust into the headlines for all the wrong reasons when he was accused in connection with a shooting incident in Texas. The news of his arrest shocked many, as McDowell had been seen as an up-and-coming star in Hollywood, admired for his talent and bright future. The shooting, which left one person injured, is still under investigation, and the details surrounding the incident remain unclear. McDowell's involvement in the situation has not been fully explained, but the allegations have undeniably cast a long shadow over his career. What once appeared to be a promising future in entertainment now hangs in the balance, overshadowed by uncertainty. His arrest not only halted his professional momentum but also left his once bright future shrouded in doubt. For those who admired his work, this turning point was both disheartening and disappointing, raising questions about the pressures young actors face in their personal lives, especially when thrust into the spotlight at a young age. As McDowell navigates the legal system, his fans and supporters can only hope that he overcomes the obstacles in his path. His future remains uncertain, and only time will tell what lies ahead for this promising young actor. Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda became a household name almost overnight with his viral dance move, Shmoney, and the smash hit Hot Nigga, which dominated the charts in 2014. The Brooklyn-born rapper quickly gained fame with infectious beats and an energy that spread like wildfire, leaving fans eager for more. However, just as his career was skyrocketing, everything took a sharp turn for the worse. In 2014, Shmurda was arrested alongside several members of his crew, facing a slew of serious charges including drug trafficking, weapon possession, and conspiracy. The charges were severe, and it appeared that the promising future of the young rapper might derail before it had even truly begun. After years of legal battles, Bobby Shmurda was sentenced to 7 years in prison. During his time behind bars, his case attracted widespread attention, with many questioning the severity of his sentence and the circumstances surrounding his arrest. His supporters believe that Shmurda was unfairly targeted, and that his conviction exemplifies the harsh treatment of young black men from troubled neighborhoods by the justice system. Despite the setbacks, Shmurda managed to keep his name alive in the public consciousness, connecting with his fans through social media and maintaining a strong presence. In 2021, after serving 6 years, Shmurda was granted parole, bringing immense joy to his supporters. His release marked a new chapter in his life, and while his time in prison may have slowed his career, it also provided him with a period of reflection and growth. Fans eagerly awaited to see how he would rebuild his career and what the future would hold for the once promising rapper. Shmurda's story is a stark reminder of the challenges faced by many artists and young people from disenfranchised communities, where the path to success is often marred by the very system they seek to escape. Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane's relationship with the law is nothing short of complicated. Rising to fame in the mid-2000s with hits like Icy and Freaky Girl, he quickly became one of the most influential figures in Southern hip-hop. However, his success was overshadowed by countless legal issues, including multiple arrests and significant stretches behind bars. Gucci Mane's life was often a whirlwind of controversies, with his battles against addiction, violence, and the law becoming just as famous as his music. His time in prison seemed almost as frequent as his time in the studio, leading many to wonder if his career would ever truly recover. After his most recent stint in prison, Gucci Mane emerged as a changed man. His release in 2016 marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one that saw him shed his former persona and focus on personal growth and well-being. He became an advocate for fitness and mental health, even publishing a memoir that chronicled his struggles and triumphs. While his journey to redemption is far from over, Gucci Mane's transformation is nothing short of remarkable. Today, he stands as an example of how someone can overcome a troubled past and rebuild their life step by step. Gucci Mane's path to prison was paved by a series of poor decisions and an environment steeped in violence and excess. His legal troubles were directly tied to the lifestyle he chose to lead, one filled with substance abuse, criminal associations, and run-ins with the law. Despite the obstacles, his story is one of resilience and change, proving that even after years of turmoil, a person can find redemption and carve out a better future. As we conclude today's deep dive into the lives of 20 black celebrities currently rotting in jail, we are left to ponder the paths they've taken and the lessons we can learn from their struggles. What do you think led them down these dark roads, and how can we as a society better support those who face such challenges? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. If you found this story eye-opening and thought-provoking, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button to stay updated on more stories from Legends of Black Excellence. Your support helps us continue bringing you the untold stories of those who shape our world. Thank you for watching.